Welcome to Audrey's Southern Cooking. How are you today? My name is Nita, and what we do here is I take my mother's recipes. Her name was Audrey. I have my grandparents' recipes, my sisters. I have different Southern women and men's recipes that I love to use and try to keep those older recipes alive. So today, we're going to make a Southern, I will almost say staple. It's not really a staple, but it's cooked pretty often here in the South. My grandmother cooked it a lot. Both my grandmothers did, and my mother. And I'm going to replicate that as best as I can. But you can always do your own seasoning in this recipe. Don't forget, I show you the recipes. Now you can make these your own. So basically, I'm just going to put some salt and pepper in this. But honey, you can put whatever you got because I'm going to add a little extra. All right, what are we gonna make? Chicken and dumplings. That's gonna be so good. We're gonna make our own dough. It's not hard to do, I promise you. We're gonna roll it out and we're gonna do what my grandmother used to do, is cut them into strips. So before we get to that part, we're gonna have to cook our chicken. So let's see what we gotta have. All right, so what do we gotta have? A whole chicken. So I'm gonna show you, I've shown you this before, but I'm gonna show you again. We're gonna cut this up. Actually, what I'm gonna do is probably cut it in half because we're just gonna put it in here and boil it. That's all we're gonna do. I got my rolling pin, that's coming in later. I'm gonna use self-rising flour, salt and pepper, and I've got Crisco to make it into a dough. But all that's coming up later. I've got my little bowl to mix it all in. We're gonna move all this to the side. Let me get my big cutting board out so I can show you how to cut this chicken in half. We're gonna put it in this pot and put it on the stove and boil it. All right, welcome back to the counter. One thing I forgot to tell y'all, don't forget your sweet tea, because it's been sitting here, the ice is melting, and I've been getting thirsty. Sweet tea on every video. Also, there will be a link down the bottom. I'm gonna try to put one somewhere up here. It may not be this exact spot, but I'm gonna try to put that sweet tea link up there so you can see that recipe on how to make it. Really simple. All right, so I've taken my chicken out. I just ran cold water over it and patted it down with a paper towel. Don't forget to take your insides out. You got a neck, a heart, and your gizzards. My boyfriend loves those. I'm just gonna put those to the side. I'll cover those a little bit, put them in the fridge, and he can cook something with those. And the reason I'm gonna cut this chicken in half, which you do not have to do, it will fit in this pot, but I'm also gonna use this as an opportunity to show you how to cut a chicken in half if you've never done that. Because I know that I've got some newer people on here and they haven't seen me do this. I've done it once before on camera. I'm just going to show you how to do this. Let me turn it where you can kind of see. So if you look, there's a line right through here. That's each breast here. We got the legs and thighs. And that's the back. I know they look pretty skimpy without any feathers on. And we're going to go right down this. So what I'm going to do, take a good sharp knife. Pointed ones are really better. And you just stick it right on that line. You can do it anywhere up here. I'm gonna start right in the center. And I'm gonna go all the way through. They went all the way to the cutting board. Then you're just gonna go down this bone. Now be really careful with your fingers. If you can see, let me show you first how it's already split. And I could already got my finger through there. I'm just gonna finish cutting that part right here. If you wanna use shears, cutting shears, I have some of those. You can use those, but it don't go all the way through some of these bones. So sometimes, to me, this is a little quicker. Continuing on with this little edge all the way through. There's a little breastbone right there you gotta cut through. Then you just gotta go through your meat. And there's the skin. But there, you just cut your chicken in half. or you butterflied it is what I should say. And when you look that in here, go ahead and get this gunky stuff out. I call it gunky. Now we want to cut the back side down. So you got to go through these ribs, and that's the hard part. The breastbone is pretty hard, but it's only got this little slice here and that right there. So it's not like super hard. This is the harder part. Now you can leave it this way, you can flip it over. Whatever you want to do, honey, it don't matter. If it helps you to look the other way, where you can see where everything is, that's fine. But you can see the skin. You can see the dark and then this lighter color. See this right here? And that's darker. That's where all your thighs are here, your breast and your wings. And then you've got this line right through the middle that's kind of a skin tone, basically. And I just use that. And you can leave the tail on, you can see. You just want to kind of cut through. Whoop, be careful with your knife. You just want to do it this way. Kind of give you a little edge. Whatever's easiest for you. But it's not going to be really easy because you've got to get through these bones. That's why I do the front part first. All right, and there you go. Your two sides of your chicken. Now, if you want to finish quartering this up, if you want to fry some chicken, which we're going to do later in another video, not today, but we're going to do it later. I'll show you then. But you're going to cut. See where that skin kind of pulling tight? You're going to cut right through there. You're going to cut right through there, and there is a joint. You're going to cut through that. Now cut that right off. Same thing with your wing. Take your wing off. But for this video, I'm not going to go through all that. We're just going to put them in a pot. And I'm going to cover that with water with some salt and pepper. And that's going to have to boil till it's done. So that's probably going to take about an hour. So we'll be back when it's ready to pull out of the pot. All right, so the chicken is done. It has boiled a little over an hour. And it is pretty tender. You can take your fork and you can see it's just twist right off. Which is good because that's what we need. We're gonna pull this off the bone. But first of all, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull this out and I'm gonna put this in this bowl over here so it can cool off. Look at that. That is how tender that is, and that's just what we need for our chicken and dumplings. All right. Big chunk of bone just came out, which is good. All right, I'm gonna let that kind of cool for a little bit. The chicken here, let it cool off. I don't know if you can see all that steam, but I can see it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and season my water. Well, it's not what, this is actually what you would do. Chicken broth is what this is, but I'm bought extra. And we're just gonna pour a little bit more, maybe about a cup or so. I'm just guessing. You know, I don't measure everything. It's more of a look. That may have been a cup, may have been a little bit more. And I'm gonna add, I'll go ahead and add a little onion powder. Oops. And salt. Where my onion powder is. There it comes. Sometimes it sits in the bottom and it gets stuck. All right, onion powder. I've got a little bit of minced onion. I hadn't opened it yet, so I'm gonna get that open. I'm gonna put just a little dash of oregano in here. It looks like I'm putting a lot, but honestly, it's hardly any on top here. I don't know if you can see. There's just not that much on there. Whew, that pot is hot. Garlic powder. Now I put salt in the water when I cook my chicken, but I know it's probably in the chicken. So I'm just gonna put a little bit more salt in here. I'm not gonna put a lot, just regular sea salt and some black pepper. All right, let me get this minced garlic here open. I'm just gonna put about like that in there. You know, I might put a little bit of garlic in here. I might just do that too. While this is cooling, I'm gonna move this over to the side. But if you haven't seen it already, I did this short video on how to make a what? Southern mint julep. I'm gonna tell you, I've never had one. But if you're Southern, or if you've heard about Southern, you know, you always see I'm gonna sit on the porch and drink my mint julep. Well, honey, I can see why now. It's early in the morning, but damn, that's good. That is good. But I still got my tea too. I had to put more ice in it and more tea. It's still early because I started another video, and I started when the sun was just still behind the trees. It hadn't come all the way up yet. So you'll see another video if you look at the window behind me. It's a little dark. All right, let me let this cool off just a little bit, this chicken, so I can handle it. And I'm gonna shred it and put it back in here. And then we're gonna make our dough. All right, so I haven't let this cool a long time, but it has cooled quite a lot. So I'm gonna get me a little cutting board, just in case I have big chunks. And got my little knife. So what we're gonna do, got me a little measuring cup or something. Whoops. So what we're gonna do is pull these bones out. If the bones have meat on them, just pull it off. And what I'm gonna do, if it's just small like this, I'm putting it right in my water. It is up to you. Ooh, this is still hot. Down in there. All right, so I'm gonna have to let this cool a little bit more. I'm gonna work on it, and then I'll come back and show you some more stuff. All right, this one is cool enough to handle right now, so I'm gonna show you real quick how to do this, and then I'll just do the rest, and we'll get it ready to go. So you see it's just kind of coming off the bone. Just pull it off. I just put in the skin and the whatever the stuff is that you don't want, bones and veins and things like that, in this little cup over here. And that's my like catch-all scraps. I'm just taking these big chunks off because as I pull it off the bone, I find that it's getting hotter closer to the bone because I'm not really letting it sit very long. You don't want them too small anyway, because once you do that, it's gonna disintegrate more as you cook it, because we're gonna cook those little dumplings in there. Just shred it up like this. Just pull it apart. The only time that you're gonna need to really cut them is if you get a big chunk, but they should come apart pretty easily. And just kind of leave it like this. Put them right on in there. You know, here in my kitchen, we get our hands dirty. Just put them right on in there. I'm gonna finish this. We'll move over, well, actually, I'm gonna finish this, and then we're gonna make our dough and show you how to do that. All right, we'll be back. All right, I got my chicken deboned. Got it all in my pot. So we're gonna make these dumplings. This is gonna be really simple. You're just gonna take some self-rising flour, Crisco, and I'm just gonna use some water. I'm not gonna put milk in it. There's no point in putting milk in it. Just water is fine. We're just gonna make a dough. We're gonna roll it out and cut it up. Cut it into strips. Now, my grandmother would roll them out and cut them into strips. And what was left, my sister and I, Miss Phyllis and I, would put sugar and cinnamon on them and bake them in the oven. Oh, so good. Oh, memories of childhood. Now, I don't really measure this, but I usually kind of go by sight, as you know. Taking my self-rising flour. I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna do a cup and a half. I wanna do just 1 cup. I'm afraid 1 cup is not gonna be enough, and I'm afraid 2 cups is too much. Okay, so that's roughly a cup and a half of self-rising flour. I'm not taking it too far away because I want to use it to sprinkle out here. Crisco. This is just like making biscuits or a pie crust. If you've ever made biscuits or even a pie crust. I don't know how much Crisco I'm going to use. So what I did was I just took some in here and just put it in the pot, if you can see it. First thing you're going to do is you're just going to cut this in. So if you can see, that's not enough Crisco. So I just wipe that off. And I'm just going to get a couple of these, because you don't want to put too much. So I got a couple, just scrape them off. This is very similar to biscuits. You do the same thing with biscuits. You can use Crisco or butter, and you cut it in and then you add your water. Same thing with dough. If you're making like a pie crust, which is kind of what we're doing. But I just want to get it, see how it's kind of getting crumbly? That's what I was looking for. Now, I just got 2 cups of water. I'm not going to use 2 cups of water. I just got this, so I'll have it. And I put maybe 1/8 of a cup of water. You don't want to put much. You just want to stir it. And you can kind of see how it's starting to kind of stick together. And you just do small little waters. Small little water pours. Because you can see it's starting to get kind of doughy. But you still got a lot of loose flour, so. All right, look at that. See how it's looking now? Now, if this is not enough, you can always make more, but I think this will probably be all right. Now, let's get our hands dirty, as usual. You know, we've already got them dirty once. Let's get dirty some more. So just kind of spread this over. If you want to use a sifter, you go right ahead. Take it out of the bowl. See, I got a little wet right there. Let's make sure we get an extra flour right there. Get it on our hands. Because I should have added that extra little bit of water, but I did. All right. So now, what I'm gonna do, I wanna make sure I got flour everywhere. Put a little flour on the top. Rolling pin, something long and round where you can get this. Let me get that out of the way. Make sure you keep some flour handy. And you're just gonna roll from the center. Lightly roll, because yours may be a little drier than mine, but mine's a little wet and I don't wanna. What I'm gonna do is pull it up a little bit. Kind of like what you would do if you were doing cinnamon rolls or whatever, something like that. Pie crust. And as you see, I did get it too wet. But that's okay. We can always add flour. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit just a minute. I'm gonna put my chicken on the stove and get that water boiling. You want it boiling and hot when you put these in. So let me go put those on. When they get to boiling, we'll come back. I'm gonna put a little bit more flour on top of this and let it soak up some of this water. And then we'll come back and we'll be ready to cut it up and put it in the water. All right, let's get going. All right, my chicken's on. It's just about to boil. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna show you how to cut this. By that time, it'll be ready. So what I did is the flour that I had on it, I went on and actually what I did was roll that flour up and kind of kneaded it in so it wouldn't be quite as wet as it was. So taking my knife, let me get me a little flour. I'm just gonna sprinkle. I'm afraid it's gonna stick on some of this. But I'm just gonna kind of just get a little flour on my knife. You can use a sharp knife if you want. There's no point in it. Just a butter knife is fine. And you're just gonna slice it. That's really all you're gonna do. Look at that. The best thing to do is that way it doesn't stick. Let's just cut it. I don't cut it too wide. Now if you want to leave these whole and put those in, that is perfectly fine. I probably wouldn't with these longer ends only because they're gonna be harder to handle. I'm gonna just leave that one as it is. Now that one's more thicker, but it's all right. And just make sure, like I said, because it's kind of trying to stick here. And since that one's wider, I might cut it a little bit shorter because it's wider. Just checking on my chicken. All right, so just kind of cut them. All right, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna check on my chicken and make sure the temperature's up, and then we'll get these in. I'll show you in just a few minutes. Okay, as you can see, let me adjust this a little bit. You can see my chicken boiling. But you can see all these big, some of them are bigger. That's okay, because they're gonna cook down, because this is gonna cook about, I would say 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even as much as 30 minutes. Because the chicken, everything's done. We just won't need the bread that we're fixing to put in there to be done. So let me get a few pieces and let me show you. All right, so you saw me cutting them. So here they are. They're just a little thin, and you want to get them pretty thin when you cut them. And you're just going to drop them in. If you want to make these smaller, that's fine, honey. Do what you want. Let me grab some more. You know what? I might have actually gotten too many. I still have more over there. And I'm just putting these in one at a time so that they don't really stick together. And I kind of cut that one in half. But you want them hot, the water boiling. I might have made too many. All right, we're back. This is done. I'm gonna turn it off. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna put some in a bowl and we're gonna meet at the counter and we're gonna try it for that. I'm gonna leave this too hot to be moving. Let's move over to the counter. I'm gonna get a bowl and I'll meet you over there. All right, welcome to the counter. All right, this is done, the chicken and dumplings. Ooh, it smells so good. So here is the dumpling that we made. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, hot. Mm-hmm. That's good. I soaked up the good chicken juice flavor, all the seasonings. Now we'll get a little bit of chicken. Kind of see how it kind of turned into like a gravy. That's really good. Makes like a nice little gravy in there. Hi, moved you back up. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It is delicious. Now, you can put whatever seasoning in it you want. If you've tasted and you need more seasoning, go ahead and put more seasoning in it. You can make it hot, spicy if you want, and you do what you want. I'm giving this recipe to you to make it your own. All right, I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe wherever the button is, and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. You gotta smash it hard because you wanna make sure you get all those notifications for the new videos that are coming out, and you wanna make sure you see all the old ones. Also, share with your friends. Don't forget them because they may wanna see these videos too. And go ahead and like the video and make some comments. I've had a lot of comments lately, and y'all, those are wonderful. They either help me grow and, well, they don't but they help me grow, or there's a lot of encouragement, and I appreciate that. Really, I do. I was in the middle of the store yesterday, and I got a notification that I had a comment. So I read it, and y'all, this person said, and I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm not gonna say their name or their code name, or because I haven't asked permission to do that, but you know who you are, and they said that they think I'm great. I'm in the middle of the store, y'all, I'm about to cry because it just makes it so worthwhile knowing that y'all really enjoy these videos. Y'all just don't even know. If y'all want to see me cry, y'all go ahead and send those comments like that. They just push me and keep me going. But y'all, I appreciate y'all, and I'm doing this for y'all so that y'all can learn and eat some good Southern food. Because I don't know, some of y'all are not Southern. Some of y'all may be in different countries. Y'all get to see me act silly and tearing up still. And y'all can learn how to make some American Southern food. This is comfort food. This is what we do here. You come to the South, you're gonna come in, you're gonna sit down, you want something to eat or drink. That's what we do. That's how I was raised. People come in my house, do you need something? You good? You want some water, some tea? I gotta make you sweet tea. Y'all don't forget your sweet tea, and watch that video. I'm gonna try to link it either here or it'll be down in the description. Either way. And don't forget, there's also some links down there for Venmo and for PayPal. If you would like to help support my channel, I would really appreciate it if you could. It helps me get supplies and equipment. But those little things like that, $5, it helps tremendously. All right, I appreciate y'all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell and share with your friends and tell everybody to come on down to Nita's, and we're at Audrey Southern Cooking, and get your sweet tea and let's do some videos.